Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. So in case you guys missed the last video, I'm currently house sitting for a friend, which is why this whole setup is different. Bear with me here, this is only a temporary thing and I'm still trying to figure out the lighting situation and the camera setup, so excuse me if the quality of this video is going to be a little lower than usual, but anyways, today we are talking about the big Bitcoin event that happened called the B Word. And it was a virtual event starring some of the biggest people in the Bitcoin community, namely Elon Musk, Cathie and Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Twitter and Square. So I'm sure you guys all know who these people are already. So I watched the whole event, and today I'm going to share some of my thoughts on what I thought about it, and what my opinions were of the event, and the big revelations that Elon gave, which are very interesting. So let's talk about all of that. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump straight into it. So first of all, my overall opinion of it. Well, I gotta say, I actually really enjoyed the event. So it wasn't as combative and adversarial as I thought it would be. So obviously a lot of people in the crypto community don't like Elon because he stopped accepting Bitcoin as payment for Teslas, first of all. And second of all, he said a lot of negative things about Bitcoin with regards to its energy usage. So I was expecting him to debate Jack Dorsey, who is a heavy Bitcoin maximalist. But no, I think overall Jack and Elon actually agreed on like 90% of things. So they agreed on almost everything. So the biggest revelation that Elon gave was that he not only holds Bitcoin personally, but that he also holds far more Bitcoin than Ethereum and Dogecoin. So he confirmed that he holds Dogecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and then he also holds more Bitcoin than Ethereum and Dogecoin, and far more, as he said. So this is surprising because I think a lot of people were under the impression that Elon hates Bitcoin and then he went all in on Doge, and it appears that this is not the case. So Elon essentially revealed that he's still a big Bitcoin believer, and despite all the criticisms that he's had surrounding Bitcoin's energy usage, he still has a lot more Bitcoin than Dogecoin. So a while back there was also some speculation that Elon was the owner behind a mysterious Dogecoin wallet, which has now been emptied. But before that happened, it had over $500 million worth of Dogecoin in it. And back then, Dogecoin was also like a lot higher in price. So I think it was over $1 billion worth of Dogecoin at the price back then. If this is the case and this wallet is indeed Elon's, does that mean that Elon has like $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? Because he has far more Bitcoin than he has Dogecoin, right? So I don't know, this wallet might not be him, I'm just speculating, but yeah, I would imagine that Elon, being like one of the world's richest people, or if not the world's richest person, he probably has like at least $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? I'm just speculating, again, I don't know. So the next thing that Elon revealed was that SpaceX also holds Bitcoin on its balance sheet. So as far as I know, before the event, this was not public knowledge. So SpaceX is a private company, which means that they don't have to disclose their balance sheets, they don't have to disclose their financials. Anyone outside of SpaceX has no idea regarding its financials, including myself, right? I'm not part of SpaceX, so I have no idea before this event. So if Tesla had over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, I imagine that SpaceX would probably have a similar amount. Lastly, Elon also confirmed to us that Tesla and SpaceX are both still holding their Bitcoin. So there was a scare back then a few months ago where people were trashing Elon about like his Twitter comments about Bitcoin's energy usage, which caused Elon to threaten to sell Tesla's Bitcoin. At the end of the day, though, he said he didn't, right? But a lot of people were still like, oh, well, he could change his mind. And, a lot of people were scared and they wanted to see the next quarterly report from Tesla to confirm that Tesla still has their Bitcoin. Well, now you don't have to wait anymore. Now it's been confirmed that Tesla did not sell their Bitcoin, apart from the 10% that they sold, that they said they did it to improve the liquidity of Bitcoin. But besides that, Tesla still holds 90% of the original Bitcoin purchase that they did. Anyway, so that's all the juicy info that Elon talked about. Now, they also talked about how Tesla could be more involved in crypto in the future. So this is very interesting. So this is with regards to mining. So Tesla is a renewable energy at the end of the day, right? So there's opportunities for Tesla to use their solar solutions to, one day in the future, maybe like build integrated like Bitcoin mining systems into their solar roofs and stuff like that. So they talked about like having a space heater that is also a Bitcoin miner, right? And yeah, there's also a lot of other things that they could do in terms of clean energy and using clean energy to mine Bitcoin. Which is one of the biggest concerns that Elon had about Bitcoin, right? It was like, oh, he's like, it's mined using like dirty coal and stuff like that. Well, he can provide us with a solution then if he's so critical about the energy usage. And furthermore, moving on, Jack Dorsey also talked about building a crypto hardware wallet and doing it in such a way that it would allow anyone to be easily onboarded into the crypto world. So the major problem right now is a lot of people are not like really tech savvy enough to start their own like crypto wallet and things like that. So for those people who are not tech savvy, they're scared by crypto, right? So they're not really interested in getting into crypto. But if we can break down this barrier and make a hardware device or make wallet or make custody solutions really easy and build a solution in which the user owns the private keys, so some sort of non-custodial solution, well then I think that would be really great for the crypto community, and in my opinion this sounds fantastic. So the technological complexity, as I said, is a huge barrier, and anything that breaks down this barrier is a big win in my eyes. Yeah. Anyways, Elon also talked about using a multi-sig solution for like this crypto hardware wallet that Jack Dorsey was talking about. So I first heard of this idea on a blog post written by Vitalik Buterin, who is the founder of Ethereum. And I'll link to that blog post if I can find it. I don't know if Vitalik was the one who came up with this idea, but essentially the idea is that you have multiple keys, right? So no one person has like sufficient authority to move the crypto. So you'd have to distribute some of the keys to trusted third parties. So you'd hold part of the key and then you distribute it to an institution. But then the institution only has part of the key and they don't have the authority to move your crypto without your permission, and they can't have access to your crypto using only their part. So that's kind of like the idea where it's if you like lose your key, then there's like solutions where you can contact all the trusted custodians to help you recover your key. But at the same time, no one person or one institution has the authority to access your crypto. So I think that this is very similar to, let's say, nuclear launch codes. So we like to think that whoever has the code can just press a button and then launch nukes. Well, if that was the case, then we'd all be pretty screwed because that's like really bad securities. In reality, nuclear launch codes are a lot more complicated, and there's like different branches that need to approve the authorization of launching a nuke, right? Something really serious like that. So if someone just steals the code, they wouldn't necessarily be able to access or launch the nuke, because they would have to go through all these steps, and they might not have all the necessary authorization to like convince the generals and convince like the people in charge of like the nuclear silos and stuff like that. Anyways, movies oversimplify things. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm really interested to see what kind of crypto custody solution that Jack Dorsey and Square, which is a company that he owns that is developing this, I'm really interested to see what kind of solution Square can come up with. And lastly, Cathie Wood talked about how regulations right now are a hindrance to corporations holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet because it gets recorded as an intangible asset. So I'm not an accountant, so if you're good at accounting, please correct me down in the comments if I say something wrong. But the way that I understand it is that under current GAAP rules, and GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Practices, which is the standard set of standards for accounting, right? So under GAAP rules, if you're an institution holding Bitcoin, you have to record it as an intangible asset, which means that you have to book a loss if the price of, let's say it's Bitcoin, right? You have to book a loss if Bitcoin goes down, and if it goes up, you don't get to book a profit. So under the current rules, it's set up in such a way that it's not really advantageous to like shareholders, or it doesn't make the company look good in front of shareholders. if Bitcoin goes down, then it hurts your EPS. And you have to explain to our shareholders why your EPS went down this quarter. And this seems really dumb to me, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me on this, is that the reason why we're not seeing more companies add Bitcoin to their balance sheet or adopt Bitcoin is because of just a random accounting rule. So Tim Cook, Mark Zuckerberg, people like that, they don't want to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet because it'll make them look bad in front of shareholders. Whereas Elon is Elon, so he doesn't care, right? So I don't know, it's just kind of sad to me. I don't really have anything else to add on this. I just hope the regulations catch up. That's all I have to say. So I think a lot of people who are Bitcoin supporters, they cringe when they hear the word regulation, which by the way, I'm actually a big supporter of more regulation in the industry. And the reason is because I think if you really want Bitcoin to go mainstream, you actually need regulation, because that's the only way that big institutions and big money can adopt it, or else it'll just be this random plaything, or this random currency that people whose net worth are $2,000 trade around with. It's not going to be a real thing, right? Unless we get trillions and trillions of dollars worth of value poured into it. So I really do think that having more regulation is a good thing for Bitcoin. This isn't the Silk Road days of Bitcoin anymore, right? So Silk Road, if you don't know, it was a black market site for people to buy and sell illegal things like guns, drugs using Bitcoin. So those days are gone, okay? So if you're a true believer, you're going to be hoping that we don't go back to those days, because up until today, some people still think that Bitcoin is just a currency used by criminals, and the reason why is because of this whole Silk Road thing, right? It's because that associated Bitcoin with crime, and that give Bitcoin a bad name. So you'll probably hope that we don't go back to that. Anyways, I digress. So that's pretty much the whole summary of what happened. And once again, my opinion is that I am pleasantly surprised. So I'm pleasantly surprised of how pro-Bitcoin Elon is. So I really thought that he would be more negative towards Bitcoin, but that wasn't the case. I think that I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin. Let me just say that. I'm really excited for the future of Bitcoin, and this presentation, this event really got me reinvigorated on my expectations for Bitcoin in the future. It convinced me even further that this is something that is worthwhile, that is valuable, that will continue to see increased adoption in the future for it. And I'm super happy that we have the support of some of the brightest minds in the industry, like Jack Dorsey, like Elon Musk, like Cathie Wood, behind this whole Bitcoin movement. So everything is great. Anyways, I'll leave the video here. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you like the series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.